He's got a Infowars t-shirt. You've got a Paul Joseph Watson t-shirt. Conservatism is the new counterculture.
It definitely is.
So how long have you been listening to Infowars?
About a year and a half. I mean, I knew Alex Jones a long time ago. I saw the Aaron Russo interview. That was one of the first things that really woke me up.
Oh, that's a great interview.
Yeah, it really is. But I went to college and, I kind of, in 2009 when he said it all was going to happen passed, and I kind of was like, oh, maybe it's not true with the RFID chips being implanted and everything. But then a couple of years ago, I started thinking, well, they have these RFID chips in our phones, in our pets, in our IDs. In the middle of your ID, there's one. So why do they even need to inject us with it? And I started waking up a little more then, and then in the election, I was like, am I really going to have to choose between Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton?
That's what they had planned.
Yeah, so I started looking into Trump because I noticed that the media was just grilling him, killing him nonstop. And the first thing I came across was Alex Jones' interview with him, and that was really woke me up because I was like, oh, well, I like Alex Jones. I know he gets a bad rep, but this is like the best interview where I've actually heard Trump get to explain his positions, and I agreed with everything he had to say. So after that, I was like, wow, Infowars is the only place where I can get news without the spin. And since then, I'm a daily listener.
That's great. I remember the very first debate when the very first question was, will you support the other guy if they win? You're talking about Jeb Bush or whatever. Yeah. And Trump was the only one who had the guts and the candor to say, not necessarily. I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah. that got a lot of respect from me. I really appreciated that he would have the authenticity, and that's the key thing about Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, you got to say the guy is authentic.
Absolutely.
And I think we've seen that authenticity here. Many of us, and I've been very worried about some of the snakes that he brought with him to the swamp, pushing back against him. And maybe that's just his management style, because as we see today, some of these losers were saying Trump never really wanted a discussion. He never had anything good to say about the climate treaty. Now we're out of it. They're furious. They're apoplectic. You got people like Morning Joe, who's been one of the recipients of the leaks from inside the White House, the people who are opposing it. Just absolutely furious, saying it was Bannon who is the president. It's President Bannon this and President Bannon, trying to goad Donald Trump into coming after Bannon, saying, "Oh, well, you're the real, show that you're the real authority." But the people at the same time are attacking Trump, saying he's not listening to us as we push back against him. He's his own man, I think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that's why I was so drawn to him, because he funded himself. So there's nobody that's going to be influencing. That's why this whole mainstream media propaganda that he is only in it for the corporations. It's the classic Sal Alinsky rules for radicals technique. Say what they're doing, or say what you're doing, and blame it on your opponent.
Project it onto them, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're here at Bilderberg, and is it because you heard this at Infowars? On a Friday afternoon, why are you here at Bilderberg?
Well, I'm here all the way from South Florida.
Wow.
And I just, within the past month, I've been trying to do this for the past half a year, but I really have just been procrastinating. But this past month, I finally got into it, started my own YouTube channel, trying to do my own thing. Red Pill Media, if anybody wants to check it out. So I came here to cover it because when I first saw Endgame, I watched Endgame after watching that Donald Trump interview. That was the first time I had heard about Bilderberg, even though I had been into conspiracies for a while. This is kind of like a well-kept secret.
Yeah.
So
that's the best conspiracy. It's not a real good conspiracy if you don't keep it secret, right?
Yeah, well,
they have done a great job of keeping it secret. And for years, they would tell everybody it doesn't even exist. And then they couldn't deny that anymore. And then after the crowds got really big, they started pretending that they're going to be somewhat transparent with people by releasing a list of the attendees. I mean, the big game used to be trying to see inside the darkened limousines to see who's really turning up here. And of course, they give us an official attendees list, but we don't know who else is here because they're only 30 minutes from the White House or right here in the middle of Washington, D.C.
Like in '08 when Obama and Hillary showed up on the helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm here from South Florida, so I really wanted to come cover it, and I earlier in the year was like, oh man, I got to cover Bilderberg this year, but I figured it was going to be in Europe. I don't have money to get out there really, and then when I saw it was here, I actually had called in. Rob Dew and Darren McBreen were talking somebody they had on Ben Garrison. Somebody called in, was asking about Bilderberg, and I actually called in and I was like, they didn't know where it was going to be. I was like, hey, it's going to be in Virginia. I looked into it, and some of the weaponized autists on 4chan were saying that they think it's going to be here. So I looked into it. I went to the official hotel for this Marriott, and June 1st to 4th, you couldn't book anything. So I was like, oh, it's going to be here. I'm going to head there.
They love this hotel. It's a perfect thing for them. Completely hidden. It's the way they hide their agenda. Well, thank you for talking to us. And you're Red Pill Media, right?
Red Pill Media. Dan Belodoff. Appreciate it, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Infowars.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here.